Long ago, there was a community that was growing on YouTube, reaching a wide audience, and established a name for itself sometime, I would say, in early 2019, maybe late 2018. This name was BreadTube. The name was derived from a book by Peter Kropotkin, a communist anarchist writer and theorist, called The Conquest of Bread. A very, very light reading manifesto on the idea of workplace democracy, the idea of abolishing the concept of private ownership, the distinctions between things like private ownership and personal property, and many other things. It's essentially like, here is why anarchism is good, here are some debunks to common misconceptions about anarchism, etc., etc. Now, oddly enough, that name, BreadTube, was quite odd to be applied to such a broad community of creators, because you had liberals like ContraPoints, you had Tankies like Bad Empanada, and you had leftists, like anarchist leftists, more like, well, at the time, more like non-compete, who all fell under this umbrella. The fact is, BreadTube was a term that just caught on because it kind of rolled off the tongue, and next thing you know, everybody just used it as a blanket term for any left-wing YouTuber that makes left-wing political content, even if that left-wing political content is like a Marxist analysis of Shrek or something, you know, like that is BreadTube content. Now, within the rise of BreadTube, there was a schism, and it happened pretty early. And much like rising bread when it cracks in the oven, that crack just gets wider as the bread rises and grows. And that's exactly what happened when it came to BreadTube. You had Tankies, you had anarchists, you had liberals, you had like soak dems, all under the same umbrella, inhabiting the same communities. And the next thing you know, people who were prominent and held very strong beliefs in one way or another started to fight each other. And now we're in this state where progressive creators are highly schismed, highly separated from each other, more so than at any point in the past. Now, an example of some creators that I would consider myself schismed from, as there have been some pretty big differences between me and these figures, are people like FD Signifier, Noah Samson, and Bad Empanada. These three have pretty different beliefs from each other, but they all agree on three fundamental things. They hate the Democrats with a fiery passion, they hate Israel with a fiery passion, and they all hate debate bro style creators with a fiery passion. People like me, or Vosh, or Hassan. Granted, at one time Bad Empanada was very friendly with Hassan, even helped Hassan dox me and Dylan Burns and many others on his stream, but now they're not friendly anymore. That aside, though, these creators, they all agree more or less on hating certain creators in the left, and so they got together and they decided to do a charity stream to raise money for Noah Samson, who is being sued for defamation, I believe, by Ethan Klein. And let me tell you, there's a reason Ethan Klein is winning his court cases where he's suing these people, because they lied about him. Like, you may have negative opinions on Ethan Klein, but what I'm going to tell you is, where did you hear the things you heard? And, think about that, and think about why the people who said those things are losing in court over saying them. You gotta be careful what you trust. Hassan was involved in Bad Empanada doxing you? Yeah, Hassan, showed it on his stream. I didn't really get his dox as bad as Dylan, though. Dylan had, full docs on screen, and Hassan was showing it and everything, and it was pretty nasty stuff. Hassan's tried to completely pave all that over, and I don't talk about it much because, obviously I don't want to draw people to creators' doxes, but yeah, Hassan not only was showing it on his stream, but was supporting Bad Empanada as Bad Empanada was doing it. He was showing it on stream to say look how based this is, right? Anyway. That aside, these creators, they hate people like me, they hate people like Dylan Burns, and they all got along over it, but their mutual agreement over Israel has now turned into a schism point in the most hilarious way imaginable. All these people who fucking hate me are now fighting over the very issues that I've always thought they are too problematic for me on, and that's the funny thing. So in one area, you've got FD Signifier, who really does seem to have like a problem with white people for real though. Like, he really does love to bring up white as like an example of why someone must be racist or bigoted or right-wing or insert bad thing here way too much for it not to be like an actual thing. And he's really, really against the idea of the dirtbag left. And me and him have had quite a few falling outs on Twitter back in the day over just Wokescold shit that he's said, Noah Sampson, we got into a fight, I believe, over the fact that he was one of the... I think he made an attack video on me first, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think because back then I was friends with Vosh, and he made an attack video on me. And then Bad Empanada is just a psychopath. Like, there are many creators that say he's doxed them. I mean, he doxed my old place. There are creators that say he's swatted them. And I know there's at least one creator who wishes to remain anonymous that told me that she was harassed with her address by Bad Empanada a while ago. So yeah, he's a real deal psycho. So they all got into a fight on stream the other day over, of all things, Israel. It's pretty funny. So let's go ahead and see what caused all this. Because how could Israel get them at each other's throats? What happened?
This unique looking figure to
Wait, the music. I forgot to stop the music. I'm such a fool. Okay, now we go.
my right on the screen is Bad Empanada. Bad Empanada is a C-tier, BreadTube online left creator on YouTube. Maybe he's B-tier now. How many subscribers does he have? He's got 208 subscribers. I think that's good enough to get you to B-tier. He is technically a video essayist, but if you look at his channel, as you can see, there's a lot of other people's faces on his thumbnails. Like, it's not the typical video essayist channel. At a certain point, he pivoted very hard into responding to
Bad Empanada needs to be called out more ruthlessly. I agree. The problem with that is he's like a psycho. He's like moved countries multiple times to avoid law enforcement, like he doxes people. He has lots of creators say that he's swatted them, like he's just not the kind of person anybody wants to have to deal with. So while he uploads videos that come off as, reasonable and chill, and he grows an audience off of that, if you go find him on like his 500th Twitter account he's had to make because he's gotten banned for death threats so many times, it's like most people don't know what he's up to on his Twitter account. Most people don't know the kind of behavior he gets up to. And then when he's criticized for it, he can just say, "You're a liberal Zionist who supports the murder of Palestinians." And of course, because no one likes liberal Zionists who support the murder of Palestinians, people are going to be like, well, okay, well, fuck this guy. Who cares what you say or do to this guy? He deserves it. And that's how Bad Empanada gets away with justifying what he does. Anybody who he targets is insert list of horrible, horrible things to be that any sane, rational person would just kind of go, you know what? Who cares what happens to them? And that's how he gets away with behaving in such a manner. He's like an acceptable asshole, as long as he's going after acceptable targets.
To other people's stuff. Because the fact of the matter is, he learned pretty early, and he'll admit this, he missed this during this conversation. The things he's most interested in talking about, the things that he wanted to bring to the table to LeftTube or BreadTube, were not things that the general audience was interested in. And so he could not build an audience doing that. At a certain point, he becomes, I think I described him once as the online left's attack dog, BreadTube's id. And that has been my opinion on Bad Empanada.
Use Hassan's attack dog specifically, by the way.
For a long time. Bad Empanada is a person who is capable of making useful content when he wants to, but is also capable of being an antisocial, edgelord, weirdo troglodyte that nobody should really be associating with. And that nobody should be associating with thing is important because that's something that has been said privately by a lot of people.
People still say BreadTube. Conservatives say it as an insult and pejorative, and people on this like weird tanky Wokescoldy side of the left online still say BreadTube because they are genuinely so incapable of like being tapped in to the rest of online culture that they have not picked up yet that BreadTube is an embarrassing like title to use self-descriptively in 2026. Like it's like saying, yeah, I'm hip. I'm hip. It's like saying that and genuinely believing you're saying like modern Zoomer slang.
people on the online left for a long time, even when we agree with him. And this is specifically something that I did say on numerous occasions to Noah Sampson. I'm not gonna share Discord messages or whatever, but there have been a few times when Noah's like, what about Bad Empanada? And I basically said, I get why there's an appreciation for Bad Empanada, but this dude is unhinged and unprincipled and undisciplined and is only going to cause problems for people the more attention he gets, because what he cares about more than anything is attention and clout. To be fair, it's not even just
It is so nice to see this side of the left tear themselves apart. Like, I've criticized the Wokescolds and the Tankies for a while, and they had a bit of like a Wokescold Tanky alliance a few years back that really brought the left to its knees and any potential of having any actual success or real world political impact, you know? Like, everybody's Bernie or bust now. You know, like, even though Bernie's not involved, it's like everybody's Bernie or bust now. These people were the Bernie or busters. These are the people that, going back 2-3 elections ago, were using their platforms to tell people, don't vote Democrat. We have to withhold our votes as a form of protest. And they've done that, like, with every single election that Trump has been involved in, they've done this. And that acted as a schism, among many other things, between me and these creators ages ago. And now, I always thought that the lack of the obvious lack of practicality in the mindset of this type of progressive creator would push away a broader audience naturally. I was wrong. The Tankies blasted past everybody else. Hassan, FD Signifier, Bad Empanada, Noah Sampson, Infrared, all of these people blasted up to the fucking moon in terms of relevance and online reach. Now, they don't have any reach with normies or anything. Like, they're not converting people from centrist or right wing to the left or anything, but they are drawing in what there was of a left wing presence online and sort of putting them into a bubble where they will never step out of it. They will never have any usefulness to bring more people onto the broader left. Because the goal of people like this is not to grow the left, it's to grow their own sect of the left. And that can only be done by consuming the rest of the left into their own. And we've seen it happen successfully for years now, and now we're in late stages of what that looks like, where it feels like the left doesn't exist online right now, doesn't it? It feels like everywhere you look, it's just Nazis, 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 and that's because these people do not believe in arguing with Nazis, debunking conservative nonsense. They don't do debates. I mean, like, these guys invented the phrase debate pedophile. First, it was debate bro, and that wasn't mean enough, so they started calling us debate perverts, and that wasn't mean enough, and so they started calling us debate pedophiles. So now these are the people, right, who believe you're basically a pedophile if you argue with conservatives and try to debunk their worldviews because debate is bad. And now it feels like there is no online left because these people have taken over, and now they're tearing each other apart. This is the necessary, like, it's like when like a forest fire happens that's necessary, where it burns all the old growth and it allows for like new forest to grow in the ashes, like an even more healthy, stronger forest in its place. Like, that's what's happening right now. This is the forest fire that burns away the rotten old growth for new trees to grow.
Just attention and clout is also being the edgiest boy. I think that's really what led to, in part, to his conflict with Vosh and Destiny, because they all fundamentally have similar behavior, just different politics. Because I'm not the first person to say this or experience
that. This is my big problem with FD Signifier, is that he believes that behavior being similar, but mind you, his definition of similar behavior is a massive reach. Similar is carrying immense amounts of water here. Mind you, the people he's listing here, I've got negative opinions on all of them, and yet I'm like, really? Like, are you really going to claim that Vosh and Destiny are similar? Are you really going to claim that even Destiny and Bad Empanada are similar? Right? Like, okay, say what you want about Destiny, but I've been in many, like, confrontational situations with Destiny in the past, and DGG will sometimes like come into my chat, say a mean thing or something, or make like crack a joke or something like that, but I've never had a harassment campaign from that community. I've never had a harassment camp. I technically actually did get a mini harassment campaign from Vosh's community when I burned the bridge with him. But like Bad Empanada, like that guy's he's the doxer dude, you know, like we cannot claim that these people behave similarly. And the politics, once again, are very different. So you're just lumping these people in together because you don't like them. And you were closer with Bad Empanada than you were with any of these other people who are not as bad as him. So I love this, like, years of running defense and playing on the same side as Bad Empanada while he's useful. And now that Bad Empanada has personally hurt his feelings, now he's burning the bridge.
This around him. He's been transphobic in the past. He's been anti-indigenous in the past. He's been racist to Mexicans in the past. So I don't even remember the context of this, to be honest. Black Red Guard, for whatever reason, got into it with Bad Empanada a while ago, and then Bad Empanada, because this is just how he behaves, has become a reply guy to Black Red Guard on Twitter. Black Red Guard says something that I think is completely logical. Can we please stop trying to use anti-Semitic slurs vocally? It's not cute or funny. Bad Empanada's response is, look at this pathetic, obedient little Zog slave. He kneels before his masters and begs for scraps. I'm going to get into all the problems with this statement.
Yeah, I mean, Bad Empanada might have a thing against the Jews. I'm going to be real. He loves to say Zionist, 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 but bro played a game where the whole idea of the game is, he streamed it. The idea of the game was that you're like a Hamas soldier killing IDF soldiers, and he streamed it and was talking about how he's hunting down Ela Klein, and he's like looking for the secretaries so he can you know what, Ela Klein. Like that's the kind of shit that this guy gets up to. He is not a fan of the Jews, if I were to guess.
More when we actually get to the debate part. But seeing this, it's like, okay.
I mean, like, dude, you're asking, it's like asking a fish to stay out of water. You can't ask him to avoid anti-Semitic slurs.
Start to recognize there is
sus. Oh, keep in mind, like, the entire online left was cheering for this at the time because everybody hated Ethan Klein and Ela so bad that they hated Israel so bad they were willing to just cheer for blatant anti-Semitism. Let's completely be fucking real with ourselves, guys. Israel is evil, and its evilness has made the left anti-Semitic. Let's completely admit that. Can we? Is that not obvious at this point? Israel is so evil it's made the left anti-Semitic because so many people on the left are incapable of keeping their emotions from drawing them into extremely hyper-radical political positions. It's happened. It's happened. Like, Israel's definitely radicalized leftists into being anti-Semitic. And we're seeing it everywhere.
A willful desire, and this is something I've known forever, because this is, again, what debate bros have kind of always been. The desire to be edgy and to be free to behave in certain ways. Leftists of this ilk will...
Israeli nationalists, to be exact. Well, I'm talking about, when I say Israel, I mean the government and the military. So, like, you know what party runs Israel. It's the Likud party. It's Netanyahu's party. It's the party that is backing genocide and wants to continue the war. There are some contemporaries in the party that are like peers that don't want to continue the war, but they aren't doing more than saying they don't want to continue the war. So, yeah, Likud. No, it's Likud. I think it's spelled Likud, but there might be an H in there, like a Lihk, or maybe Likhud. I think is how you spell it.
Use whatever the issue du jour is to get away with that behavior. So after noticing that, I'm like, nope, I don't know if this is like the person that people should be leaning on to have that discussion. Zog is literally a Nazi term. Zog is a term that is born from the Turner Diaries. So the term Zog means Zionist occupied government, and it literally comes from the Turner Diaries. The Turner Diaries is the neo-Nazi Bible. What you see here with Bad Empanada is him literally just using neo-Nazi terminology against a black person. Just unironically, that is what, and literally the use of that term, Zog slave.
That's the crazy thing, is that I'm like 99% sure that FD Signifier thinks I'm racist. Like, I'm like 99.9% sure that if I could like read FD Signifier's mind, he thinks that I'm some kind, like at least a little bit white supremacist. Probably more than a little bit, right? That's probably his opinion. And he chose to ally himself with the side of the left, with the likes of this fucking guy for years. for fucking years, this guy. And these other, like, Wokescold types were allying up with the Tankies, who would later be calling, like, black communists Zog slaves on Twitter. Oh my god, the fumble is insane. The misjudgment fumble is crazy, dude. Because you know what's wild? You know what's wild? As bad as, like, listen, I've got problems with Vosh, right? Like, but they're not related to anything to do with this. I don't think Vosh has said or done anything a fraction as racist as this in all the years since the falling out between FD Signifier and the Debate Bros. And I certainly have not done anything anywhere near as racist as this either. And that's just a really funny irony that people like FD Signifier just saw Debate Bros are confrontational and mean and yell at Nazis and bully them, and it kind of looks like how conservatives argue, and they decided, we don't want to be cool with you, we want to be cool with the Tankies. And meanwhile, the Tankies are, like, they're one political or big global event away from Sieg heiling.
Is explicitly tied to black people, as these anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories tend to imply. The reason why neo-Nazis hate the Jews is because the Jews utilize black people and other people of color to dilute the white race, prop us up into positions of power to create white genocide.
That's what they believe.
This short, and I talked about this with Noah directly, this short is labeled, in quotes, Zionist is a dog whistle, in quotes. And then he titles it, FD Signifier calls Zionist a Nazi dog whistle. So there's no other thing to understand about what he's trying to say here than...
Listen, I know he doesn't care, but this is my advice to FD Signifier. You make better content than any of these people, okay? Like, you make better content than Bad Empanada and Noah Samson. You're wasting your time with those people. Noah Samson, like, honestly, like, you could... I wouldn't really argue you need to burn the bridge with him. There's no reason to. He's not racist or a bigot. He's just kind of a dumbass. But, like, Bad Empanada in particular, FD Signifier, you never needed to associate with that guy. You make better content than him. You have better politics than him. You're a better person than him. Like, you're more entertaining than him. Probably a more normal person than him. You literally brought yourself lower by associating with this guy, and now you are seeing the consequences of that. And this is why you are only as good as the people you surround yourself with. You are only as good as your worst friend, right? But now you no longer have a worst friend as bad Empanada. So learn a lesson from this, and, you know, just don't waste your time and energy on people like this in the future. That's my genuine, like, full sincerity advice to FD Signifier.
I specifically said, literally, because that's what quotes are used for in the English language, and he is an English speaker primarily, that I said Zionist is a Nazi dog whistle. I want you to hear what I actually said. As they've materialized for content and for clout, that has been alarming.
So yeah, here we see the thing I just described earlier in action, where Bad Empanada, instead of actually engaging with anything said by anyone who detracts from what he says, he accuses you of saying something or doing something or being something that the average person would be like, oh yeah, this person's awful. So instead of engaging with the fact that what FD Signifier really said is Zog slave and other phrases like this are anti-Semitic dog whistles, he instead says FD Signifier calls Zionist a dog whistle, a Nazi dog whistle, which is a very common thing that Zionists do. Zionists or Israeli nationalists love to say Zionist is a Nazi dog whistle in all cases when it's used, to try and deflect for Israel's war crimes. So just evoking the idea that FD Signifier made the same argument that like Israeli supremacist nationalist types do, immediately, he doesn't even need to, like, actually make a good response to FD Signifier, when the real gotcha is strawmanning what he actually said. It's slanderous. I mean, listen, slanderous behavior is not even close to the worst shit Bad Empanada does to his detractors. Like, he's insane. And
it's been something I personally stayed away from, in part because, as Bill saw, like, there's so many people waiting in the weeds to, like, you know, label you a Zionist and a Jewish supremacist and a insert Nazi dog whistle here. for just being like, this sounds weird. Y'all are sounding a little weird. But that also doesn't mean that there's not a better version of an analysis that I could be operating with or that could be put out in the forefront, which is, I think, what I'm most hopeful to get at. So I'm barely coherent in this clip. Out of context, this clip makes no sense. But understand, at no point in this clip do you hear me say Zionist is a Nazi dog whistle. As they materialize for content and for clout. And for clout, that has been alarming. It has been alarming. That has been alarming. And it's been something I personally stayed away from, in part because as Bill saw, like, there's so many people waiting in the weeds. There's so many people waiting in the weeds. And in this situation, the irony is I'm referring to Bad Empanada. Like, label you a Zionist and a Jewish supremacist and a insert Nazi dog whistle here for just being like, this sounds weird. Y'all are sounding a little weird. That's referring to this. Anybody that says to Bad Empanada and his fans, hey, I think it's weird that you all are using genuine dog whistles, terms created by neo-Nazis.
Yeah, the calling a black person a slave as an insult is a mega oof moment, all right? Like, I'm an edgy guy, but sometimes you just don't say certain things, and that's just one of those things you don't say, at least that's my mindset, okay? That's my mindset.
To spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, which he, as he shows himself, understands are not good. I think it's weird that you would do that. I think it's weird that that's happening. But you know what? I'm not even gonna jump in there with y'all, because once I start saying that, you're going to just call me a Zionist or an insert Nazi dog whistle here. The Nazi dog whistle in question is Zog slave. It's weird to me that left.
Listen, FD Signifier, I know that we have had beef in the past, okay? We've had beef in the past, but I was probably like 20 when we had that beef, to tell you the truth, and now I'm 26. All right. Honestly, internet beef does not stick with me like it used to these days. Frankly, I can't remember the last person I argued with on the internet or what I argued with them about. No matter, like, even if I really try, I can't remember. So I'm willing to just put everything aside, honestly, because we who are not basically just fascists, red fascists, who are trying to red-brown alliance over Israel, because that's what's happening. I don't know if you're familiar with creators like Infrared, who started the Red MAGA movement, the Communist MAGA movement. They are, pro-fascist, pro-Hitler, pro-Trump communists, openly. And, if you criticize them, they'll say you love the bombing of Palestinians, and because you're Jewish, right? Like, that's the kind of shit they'll say. And they're pretty popular on the tanky side of the left. They're the Nazbol kind of sector of the tanky area. And so, like, this community is a very big problem. They're trying to use class reductionist rhetoric to make people forego any desire to fight on the grounds of social issues, such as racial justice. And they're basically trying to turn the left into a movement of Nazbols, where we completely throw away any social progress and we try to fight for an authoritarian planned government with fascist characteristics. That's frankly that's not the side I want to be on, okay? Maybe the debate bros are a bit edgy. All right, maybe they're a bit edgy. But I think FD Signifier, you should consider who the bigger problem is right now. Right? Who do you want to team up with, and who do you want to team up against? That's the question, my friend. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say about this whole situation. It's pretty wild. I'm sure Bad Empanada is going to go absolutely insane because I talked about him, so that'll be fun.